I'm Dallas photographer Jason Olsford, and today I'm going to share with you the 5 composite photographers who inspire me. All right, so today is going to be a really fun day because I'm going to share with you the 5 photographers, composite photographers that I find inspiration in. And I think this is such a huge aspect of what we do, not only as photographers, but also as creative composite photographers, because we have to find inspiration somewhere. So I do find inspiration from a lot of things outside of photography. Of course, I'll go look through bookstores at old artists, painters, sculptors, things like that, what I see on the TV. I find a lot of inspiration through movies, especially animated movies, and how to colorize images and things like that. So I'm heavily moving in the direction of everything that I see and am inspired by as far as movies and other photographers and things like that. So today, I really just wanted to take a few minutes and show you who inspires me, so hopefully you can start connecting with them, and you've probably already seen a lot of them already, but I wanted to show and share with you who inspired me so you can find inspiration for your own work and composite work. So anyway, let's get started. This is no particular order, so I'm not going from best to worst or anything like that, but this is just the order that I have them here on the website. And we're going to look over their 500 pixels site here, or page. And first is John Wilhelm. I think that's how you say it. So I found John, I think, just through 500 pixels and looking around on the web. I'll Google composite photographers or composite photography all the time just to see what's in there, see, kind of who the players are in the game and that type of thing. And of course, I'll go through and also critique everything that I see as well, especially these kind of guys, because I find inspiration. And, to be real honest with you, with these type of photographers, I envy them. I wish that I could do the work that they did or do as good of work as they do. So I find a lot of inspiration. I'll go through and I'll critique everything that I see. I'm not going to critique them today, and I'm not going to do it, publicly, because these guys are too good for that. So anyway, what I love about this photographer is that, just like me, he uses his family so much for his subjects in the work that he does. Now, I believe this guy is an IT guy, which I'm not sure if he does photography for a living or sells his work or what really is going on there. But he uses his family, his girls, his wife, a lot for what he does in his composites. So it's just like me. And I had a tattoo artist scheduled for this week to do a big, really cool composite. And then a few days before the photo shoot was going to take place, he emailed me and said, can't do it, sorry. And so, to avoid those kind of situations, it's really easy to grab your kids and your wife and some of your friends and really create composites around them, because, of course, you can trust them. They're not flaky like other people. No bitterness there. So anyway, this guy does really, really high quality, great work. The other thing I want to point out that I think is really important to anybody that's doing composite photography, and what I really find inspiration is if you go down here to the beginning, not so much this guy, but maybe it is. If you go down here to the very beginning of when they started posting, this guy posting things on their 500 pixels, you look at the beginning photos here, and this is what his composite looks like. Now, of course, there's a lot of room here for critique, but what is so inspiring about this is where he started, all right? And I think we all start somewhere, and we don't understand, compositing and that type of thing, and through practice and just doing it, we end up in a place where we can produce images like this. They're just amazing, high quality images. And so I think, to me, when I look over, these profiles, or the evolution of what these photographers are doing, I think that is huge. All right, so this is a far cry from what we saw in the first image there that John did. All right, so John Wilhelm, and I'll put his link to his website up here so you can go check out his stuff as well. It'll be in the comments section below. And then moving on to Adrian Summers. All right, Adrian, I think once again, uses his kids a great deal for his composites. Again, it's just, they're such easy subjects. They're always there. They're willing to do it, and it's fun. It creates a family experience and a personal experience with all the work that we do as composite photographers, wives, kids, friends, those type of things. And going through his work is really some amazing work. And I love the vision, the creativity that these guys have. And it's one of those things where it really makes me want to push myself and my creativity as well, and just think outside the box to create composites that are different. And I think that's huge. That's what separates a lot of these composite photographers from other ones that may technically be doing as good of work, but visually just aren't quite there yet. And I think that's I think it's innate. All right, it's just an artistic vision that some of us have, and then also I think it's practiced. All right, so when you do it more and more in the beginning as composite photographers, I think we focus so much on the technique and how to manipulate and Photoshop and all this kind of stuff, and we kind of lose the creative side of it. And so once we start to develop and hone our skills in Photoshop, we can really start to put that on the back side of things, on the back burner, and really focus on the vision. And I believe for me, that's where I'm beginning to move. I'm really quite confident in Photoshop and obviously the photography and that type of thing. But the Photoshop, the manipulation, and learning the techniques and the little nuances of what it takes to blend things together and that type of thing, I'm really becoming quite confident in that. And for me, it's really starting to move towards really having a visual impact in my compositing efforts. And so definitely check out Adrian here. And again, I'll put his links to his website here so you can connect with it. Now, the next guy, Michael Herb, is absolutely one of my favorite dudes. He is doing things that I love. I love the style, the grunge effect, the technique that he uses. I wish my eyes saw the world the way his eyes see it. But of course, if they did, I'd be like him. And who wants two Michael Herbs? You got one, right? So anyway, this is his work here. He uses himself a lot for his images. So he does a lot of self-portraits. And then you'll notice when you go through his work that he'll use a lot of the same people throughout his work for at least his personal stuff. And he does that largely, or he did that largely, because he gave himself a project of doing one image every day for a year. So 365 images. And if you can imagine, that's a huge project. That takes a lot of work. And I do a lot of photography, but I haven't quite gotten myself to the point where I can do one a day. Okay, so that's a lot. And regardless of whether you're doing a composite every single time you do something or not, just doing the photography alone is a big task. But then you do the photography and you add even minimal Photoshop and then big Photoshop composites to it. Man, that's a huge thing. And so you have to really count on one, yourself, because you're always a subject, you're always available to do this, and then also friends and family for that as well. So Michael Herb is definitely, and when you go to his website and you look at his stuff, or go to other social sites and you look at his work, I think Flickr is a good one to connect with him. I'll put that link on here for you as well. But Flickr, I think he has everything posted from at least the beginning of when he started to where he is now. And you can see a huge transition. And so for me and for you, hopefully, you can see that putting that work in and putting that effort in really pays off, and you can really hone your skills and become a better composite photographer. Next, and I'm going to go to Brandon here, because Brandon is still within the realm of using people in portraits. I connected with Brandon, I believe on a podcast that Josh Rossi did at Full Time Photographer Podcast, and was really interested in how he got his start into really making money and making this a profession for himself. And I encourage you to go listen to that podcast. I'm not going to tell you about it because I don't want to take away from Josh's podcast, but go check out the podcast with Brandon Cawood over at Full Time Photographer Podcast. You can get that on iTunes. But his work is really, really freaking cool. And he does a lot of, guns and things like that. I know that he did a project with public service people like policemen and firefighters and EMTs and things like that. But he has a really, really good technique and really, really good eye. He's a young kid, so it's amazing what guys are doing or photographers are doing out there today. And he's actually doing this and making a living at it. All right. So I think that is hugely inspiring because it's the same thing here. It's like I do this composite photography, really want to make a lot of money at it, really want to make this my thing, right? I planting the flag in composite photography. And it's really cool when you can go out there and see guys like Brandon, who hasn't been doing it for all that long, and they're actually making a living from it, or Josh over at Full Time Photographer. I love their stories, and it inspires me to keep pushing and keep going, even through times when it doesn't seem like it's going to work out. So definitely check out Brandon. I'll put the links here to his website and everything so you can connect with him. And then lastly, I'm going to bring up Eric Johansson, or Johansson. Eric does some amazing creative work. And I look at his stuff and it's just like, my God, how can you have such a vision? It's just so freaking cool how his brain can work the way it works and create the art that he creates. And I love his stuff, and especially, how he uses depth of field and color and all these different things. Just, it's amazing. So I take from these artists, I take from these photographers, and I'm like, okay, how can I apply, or how can I use certain elements of what I'm seeing and then apply it to my composites and my photography? And I have a lot of ideas that I'm working on currently and will be producing and putting out here real soon that are largely inspired by a lot of these photographers that I've just shown you here, and how they use light, how they use color, how they use depth of field, those type of things. Now, of course, I don't see the world like Eric does, or Adrian, or Michael, or Brandon, or any of these guys do. I don't see it that way. My eyes don't see the world that way. But I do see how they use color. I do see how they use light and shadows and blend things and make it look so amazingly, perfect. This looks like it was really shot out in the water. You can't tell that he put it together, that he composited it together. That's how good a quality this is. And I love that, and I'm inspired by that. So just to recap here, just so we know, or so John Wilhelm is one of my photographers I recommend. Adrian Summers, Michael Herb, Brandon Cawood, and definitely check out Eric Johansson. I think you guys will be inspired by them as well, and aspire to be at their level, their quality. And then also, before I get off here, check out my 500 Pixels page as well. I could always use more followers. I love it because I get the feedback from you, and when I put something out, I look for feedback, criticisms, things like that, because you look at a photograph or you look at a composite so many times as you're working on it. This one here, for instance, took me around 8 hours to do. And so I spend 8 hours on a computer working on this thing. And by the end of it, I'm just beating my head against the wall, and I don't see a lot of the little details it seems like that I should. All right. And that's, again, why I am sharing who inspires me. So I even know with this composite here, as great as it was when I finished it, I was just like, oh, this is awesome. I love this. I look at it today, you step back from it for a couple weeks. I look at it today and it's like, okay, I see some issues with it. And so that pushes me to the next one to up my game, do better, correct the issues that I'm having today. And then as I grow in composite photography, you're going to see a big transition in my work as well. So anyway, I hope you got a lot out of today's video, and I hope you connect with these photographers. If you're really, truly interested in composite photography and really want to start improving your skills and mastering your skills, it takes a lot more, I believe, than just sitting at Photoshop and working and watching tutorials and that type of thing. You got to go out and look at these people who inspire you, these photographers who inspire you. It doesn't even have to be composite photographers per se. It can be any photographer or any artist, but go out and look at these composite photographers that inspire you, who you aspire to be like or be as good as, because this is what's going to push you. This is what's going to bring you to the next level and improve your skills. So again, I hope you got a lot out of this. Check them out. The links are here on the video. I'll also put them in the comments section below or in the post below. Go out, create awesome photography. And if there's somebody who inspires you, leave it in the comment below, because I'm always looking for composite photographers to be inspired by. So put that in the comments below. I appreciate you, love you. Go out, kick some butt, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Factory.